There is no mercy in the world for the mind that cannot govern itself. The undisciplined mind is torn apart by its own emotions long before any external enemy arrives. And if you would rise above the ordinary, if you would create success that endures through storm and silence alike, then you must first learn the highest art known to man, the mastery of your inner world. The world, my friend, is not kind to the weak in will. It does not reward softness of thought or instability of purpose. The forces of life bend to no man who has not first bent himself. The storms of existence will test every inch of your mental steel, and if you have not forged your mind in discipline, life will shatter it without apology. You must learn now what few ever grasp, that no man is defeated by circumstances until he is defeated in thought. The world breaks only those who remain untrained within. Every external collapse begins first as internal permission. You are not destroyed by pressure, you are destroyed by the failure to direct it. And so I say to you, toughen your mind or the world will break it. Understand this truth with absolute clarity. The world owes you nothing but reflection. It mirrors what you command within. If you are chaotic, it will mirror chaos. If you are steady, it will mirror opportunity. Life is not sympathetic, it is mathematical. It responds precisely to the state of your inner vibration. The weak call it unfair. The wise call it law. Emotional reactivity is the mark of spiritual poverty. It is the confession of a man who has handed the keys of his destiny to the impulses of the moment. He who reacts lives as a slave to accident. He who responds lives as a master of cause. Every reaction is a leak in the vessel of power. Every moment of restraint adds pressure to that power until it becomes unstoppable. If you wish to dominate your circumstances, you must first dominate your moods. You must reach a level of command where no insult provokes you, no praise deceives you, no fear paralyzes you, and no desire blinds you. For the moment you are ruled by emotion, you surrender your throne. And make no mistake, you were born to rule your own kingdom, the kingdom of the mind. The average man spends his life trying to control everything around him, his reputation, his finances, his relationships, but he never learns to control himself. And so, he builds empires on sand, reacting to every wave that touches him. The wise man builds his empire on granite, the granite of inner stillness. The world may rage, but he remains calm, not because he feels nothing, but because he feels everything, and yet is ruled by none of it. When I speak of toughening the mind, I do not speak of becoming hard, cruel, or indifferent. I speak of refinement, of training the mind to obey the intellect to obey purpose, and purpose to obey principle. It is not coldness that creates power, it is order. The undisciplined man is torn between emotion and ambition. The disciplined man fuses them. His emotions become fuel. His ambition becomes fire. His purpose becomes light. Discipline, my friend, is the unseen armor of greatness. It is the invisible force that protects vision from decay. Without discipline, talent rots. Without discipline, inspiration becomes obsession. Without discipline, success dissolves into self-sabotage. Every empire of thought, every fortune of character, every enduring achievement is the offspring of discipline. Ask yourself, have you trained your mind to obey you, or do you still obey it? When doubt arises, who commands? When fear whispers, who listens? When anger ignites, who controls the flame? If you do not rule your own thought, someone else already does. And the tragedy of most lives is not lack of intelligence, but lack of command. Toughen your mind. Learn to sit in discomfort without reacting. Learn to face rejection without retreat. Learn to act according to reason, while your emotions demand surrender. Every such act forges strength. Every act of obedience to purpose above feeling adds a layer of armor to the mind. One day, that armor will make you indestructible, not because the world grows kinder, but because you grow unshakable. The weak man chases comfort. The strong man chases clarity. Comfort sedates. Clarity awakens. Comfort tells you what you want to hear. Clarity tells you what you must do. And what you must do, if you would rise above average men, is learn to think independently of emotion. Emotion is a marvelous servant, but a vicious master. It blinds where it should illuminate, destroys where it should drive. The emotion of fear, left undirected, paralyzes. directed, it sharpens. The emotion of anger, left uncontrolled, corrupts, directed, it builds. The emotion of desire, left untamed, enslaves, directed, it manifests. And so the true master does not kill emotion, he harnesses it. He channels it toward his purpose as an engineer channels current through a wire. The current itself is neither moral nor immoral, it is simply power. The fool electrocutes himself with it, the wise man lights a city. The foundation of this mastery is what I call mental neutrality. The neutral mind is not dead, it is deliberate, it does not rush to judgment, it observes before it reacts, it chooses before it commits. It acts not from feeling, but from fact. Mental neutrality allows you to see the truth while others are blinded by noise. In every conflict of life, neutrality grants leverage. When others panic, you see patterns. When others overreact, you see opportunity. When others take offense, you take notes. The calm mind always wins because the calm mind always thinks. The key to emotional detachment lies not in suppressing emotion, but in redefining identity. The moment you realize you are not your emotions, you become their ruler. You are the observer, not the turbulence. The sea does not fear its own waves, it simply contains them. You are the sea. Emotions are waves transient, fleeting, and incapable of defining you unless you identify with them. Understand this clearly. The mind cannot serve two masters. Either your purpose commands emotion, or emotion commands purpose. Either you decide what things mean, or the world decides for you. Either you live as cause, or you be as effect. The world, my friend, is filled with men of ambition, but empty of men of mastery. Ambition without control is explosion without direction. The world is filled with the noise of striving, but starved for the sound of clarity. And clarity comes only from discipline, the daily, deliberate ordering of the mind toward one aim. Definiteness of purpose is the axis of the strong. Without it, thought spins without direction, energy dissipates without effect, and emotion consumes itself. With it, all the fragments of your being align into a single, unstoppable force. The definite purpose acts as the mind's compass, the will's North Star, and the soul's command center. You must know exactly what you are building, not vaguely, not someday, but clearly, as if you have already built it. The subconscious mind, which is the builder of destiny, responds not to confusion, but to command. It obeys precision, not poetry. It does not act on hope. It acts on order. Tell it what to build, and it will gather every resource seen and unseen to make it so. Leave it to wander, and it will replicate chaos. Your thoughts are not harmless. They are blueprints. Every repetition of thought lays another brick in the edifice of your destiny. The man who repeats thoughts of fear builds walls that confine him. The man who repeats thoughts of mastery builds pathways that free him. And the tool by which these bricks are laid is autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the method by which you issue orders to the subconscious. Whatever you impress upon it with feeling, it reproduces in form. The words, I can, I will, I am, when repeated with faith and emotion, become commands to the machinery of creation. The subconscious, my friend, is a perfect servant. It never sleeps, it never questions, it never rebels. But it obeys the master it recognizes most often. And the master it recognizes is repetition. Therefore, speak to yourself with authority. Speak to yourself not as a beggar, but as a builder. Say not, I hope to become disciplined, but I am disciplined. Say not, I will try to detach, but I am the calm in every storm. Say not, I wish for peace, but I command peace. Every word must be chosen as if the universe were listening, because it is. The world will test these declarations. It will present you with insult, delay, temptation, and disappointment, not to punish you, but to measure you. Every trial asks one question: have you taken command of yourself, or do you still belong to the world? If you react, the world owns you. If you respond, you own the world. Emotional detachment is not withdrawal, it is elevation. It is rising above the noise so that you can hear the music of law. The man who is detached does not escape life. He orchestrates it. He no longer confuses reaction with response or passion with purpose. His calmness is not weakness. It is power concentrated. Power, after all, is nothing more than directed energy. And energy, undirected, becomes destruction. To direct it requires thought. To sustain it requires discipline. To perfect it requires detachment. When you reach this level of mastery, life begins to yield. You notice that resistance decreases not because the world grows easier, but because you grow clearer. The same challenges that once overwhelmed you now instruct you. The same storms that once frightened you now strengthen you. You begin to move through life with precision instead of panic, purpose instead of emotion, creation instead of reaction. And that is the beginning of sovereignty. Discipline is not punishment, it is purification. It is the furnace through which all greatness must pass before it is strong enough to bear the weight of destiny. Weak minds resist that fire and remain unformed, half-shaped by fear and comfort. Strong minds welcome it, knowing that every trial is a forge, every demand a hammer, every repetition a blow that hardens will into power. For nothing of lasting worth is born from ease. Ease breeds softness. Challenge breeds substance. Life will either harden you through deliberate discipline or break you through neglect, and the choice, as always, is yours. To build a disciplined mind, you must first become ruthless with distraction. Every trivial thought that steals your focus is a thief of destiny. The mind is not a playground, it is a workshop. Every tool in it must be clean, sharp, and aimed toward a purpose. Yet most people clutter that workshop with gossip, envy, entertainment, and noise. Their mental machinery rusts because it was never used for anything worthy. They confuse information for intelligence and stimulation for strength, but a disciplined mind is not filled with noise, it is emptied of it. It is deliberate, organized, and silent until it needs to speak. That silence is not emptiness, it is concentration gathering itself for command. The disciplined mind is not born from motivation, it is born from system. Motivation is a spark that fades. Discipline is the fire that continues when sparks die. You cannot rely on emotional inspiration to sustain effort. Emotion is seasonal. Discipline is structural. It does not ask how you feel, it commands. The mind trained by discipline acts even in the absence of enthusiasm. It builds when tired. It decides when uncertain. It endures when unacknowledged. It becomes its own law. And law, unlike emotion, does not fluctuate. You must learn to make your habits mechanical, your actions automatic, and your reactions deliberate. The disciplined man does not wake up each day to decide whether he will act according to principle. He has decided once and repeats that decision daily without question. Habit is the servant of purpose. Repetition is the mother of stability. And when your actions become governed by principle rather than feeling, you rise above the chaos of ordinary life. For most people, drift because they live by feeling first, thought second, and purpose last. Reverse that order, and you reverse your fate. To toughen your mind, you must cultivate the ability to stand alone. The crowd seeks validation, the disciplined seek direction. Emotional dependence is the first symptom of weakness. A mind that cannot operate without applause will never lead. You must grow comfortable with solitude, for solitude is the school of strength. It is in silence that the mind learns to think, that the will learns to command, that the soul learns to hear itself. The man who fears silence fears self-knowledge. The man who conquers silence conquers the world. The world has trained you to seek balance, balance between comfort and growth, pleasure and responsibility, indulgence and restraint. But the truth is that balance is the word used by the undisciplined to excuse inconsistency. There is no balance in mastery. There is rhythm, there is harmony, but there is no half measure. The master of mind knows when to rest, but he never retreats. He knows when to wait, but he never wavers. His calmness is not compromise, it is strategy. His patience is not balance, it is precision. You must therefore accept that mental discipline begins with friction. The moment you decide to take control of your thoughts, every weakness will resist. Laziness will seduce you with softness. Fear will warn you of failure. Doubt will whisper that it is pointless. These are not obstacles, they are initiation tests. The world must be sure you are serious before it yields its secrets. Only when you prove that you can govern yourself in private will life trust you with power in public. Power is not granted, it is earned through mastery of reaction. Reaction is the weakness of the untrained. The disciplined man learns to delay his reaction until reason has spoken. That small delay, that quiet moment between impulse and action, is the birthplace of power. In that gap, you move from victim to victor, from puppet to commander. The emotional man is predictable. The disciplined man is strategic. He does not speak in anger, for he knows that every word spoken without control becomes a chain later. He does not promise in excitement, for he knows that emotion exaggerates. He does not fear delay, for he knows that patience multiplies leverage. The disciplined mind governs time instead of being governed by it. Autosuggestion is the hidden lever of this governance. You cannot always control the thoughts that enter your mind, but you can decide which ones you allow to stay. Every thought repeated becomes a command to the subconscious, and the subconscious obeys without question. Speak to yourself not as a servant, but as a sovereign. Your words are laws, your tone is decree. Say, I am calm, and I command my mind. Say it not once, but daily, until the subconscious accepts it as identity. For identity precedes action. A man cannot act greater than he believes himself to be. Discipline is not denial of desire, it is the redirection of it. Desire is energy blind, powerful, relentless. Left undirected, it becomes addiction. Controlled, it becomes creation. The disciplined mind uses desire as an ally, not an adversary. It channels passion through the pipe of purpose. It converts want into will. The undisciplined scatter desire across many things. The disciplined condense it into one aim. That condensation is focused, the ability to burn through resistance with the heat of sustained intention. The man who toughens his mind must also learn the sacred principle of neutrality, the law of mental equilibrium. The neutral mind is not indifferent. It is informed. It perceives without distortion. It feels emotion, but does not surrender to it. When insulted, it does not collapse into anger. When praised, it does not inflate with pride. When rejected, it does not decay into self-pity. It watches emotion as an artist watches color, choosing which to apply and when. This neutrality is strength. It is the invisible shield of the mind that cannot be provoked. The modern man believes that emotional expression is freedom. In truth, emotional regulation is power. Freedom without form is chaos. The man who expresses every feeling is enslaved by each one. The man who governs his feelings speaks little but achieves much. His silence is not repression, it is concentration. His calmness is not weakness, it is command. People call him mysterious, but mystery is only mastery misunderstood. The disciplined mind also cultivates the art of accurate thinking. Accurate thinking means seeing things as they are, not as you wish them to be, not as fear paints them, not as desire distorts them. Emotion is the fog of perception. Accuracy clears it. Every decision made through emotional fog carries error. The disciplined man delays decision until emotion subsides, then acts from clarity. This single habit to think after feeling separates the successful from the broken. When you practice accurate thinking long enough, your world becomes mathematical. You see patterns where others see chaos. You read cause and effect in every outcome. You stop labeling events as good or bad. You simply see them as data. This is not coldness. This is command. The wise man uses experience as an equation. Every failure yields information. Every pain yields insight. Every insult reveals character. He collects lessons the way the emotional man collects wounds. The purpose of discipline is not to remove emotion, but to elevate it. Love, anger, desire, ambition, these are powerful servants when trained. But like fire, they must remain in the hearth. Fire cooks your meal when contained. It destroys your home when free. The mind is the hearth. Discipline is the boundary. Purpose is the cook. Emotion is the flame. You must learn not to extinguish the flame, but to keep it serving you. The world will test your emotional strength daily. It will tempt you to react, to defend, to chase validation. But remember, every reaction is an invitation to lose control. When you argue with fools, you accept their terms. When you chase attention, you surrender your focus. When you seek sympathy, you trade power for comfort. The disciplined man has no time for either argument or applause. He measures his worth not by how others see him, but by how effectively he executes his purpose. To toughen your mind, learn to endure discomfort without complaint. Each time you act in discipline when comfort calls, you strengthen the muscle of will. Every time you choose focus over distraction, principle over pleasure, silence over argument, clarity over chaos, you multiply your strength. The world cannot defeat a man who disciplines himself to obey his own higher order. He does not fear difficulty, for he understands that hardship is the gymnasium of greatness. Pain to him is feedback. Struggle to him is opportunity. Resistance to him is proof that he is moving against the gravity of mediocrity. Remember this law. Whatever you resist persistently becomes your strength. Whatever you avoid habitually becomes your weakness. The soft mind avoids pain and inherits suffering. The tough mind embraces pain and inherits peace. The world cannot break what has already been forged by voluntary challenge. A disciplined mind is immune to chaos because it no longer depends on external order. It creates its own structure. It organizes time, energy, and emotion under one command. It builds systems where others live by chance. It thinks in advance, acts with precision, and recovers without panic. The disciplined man moves through the same storms as everyone else, but his sails are trimmed, his anchor steady, his compass clear. Others see waves, he sees wind. In the end, the furnace of discipline does not make you less human. It makes you fully human. It burns away illusion, weakness, and fear until what remains is clarity, the essence of self-control. When your mind becomes your ally, nothing external can enslave you. When your emotions obey your intellect, nothing can unseat your peace. When your thoughts obey your purpose, destiny itself obeys your will. And that, my friend, is the secret of invincibility. Not strength without vulnerability, but power that no longer collapses under it. Toughen your mind, and you will see that the world bends, not to arrogance, but to order. For law itself is on the side of the disciplined. Mastery of emotion is the summit of personal power. Until that summit is reached, every other victory remains unstable, every fortune fragile, every vision at risk of collapse. The world does not destroy the undisciplined man by accident. It simply reflects the tremors that already exist inside him. The moment you learn to govern your inner climate, no external storm can alter your direction. For the world is not your enemy. Your untrained emotions are. Emotion is the raw material of destiny. It is the invisible current that moves thought into action and thought into form. Yet most men drown in that current because they never learn to swim within it. They let anger drag them into conflict, fear pull them into paralysis, desire trap them in obsession, and pride blind them in illusion. They live not by reason but by reaction. And in reaction, there is no freedom, only slavery to whatever happens next. You must therefore train emotion the way a sculptor trains stone. Do not suppress it, shape it. Suppression is weakness disguised as control. Expression without direction is chaos disguised as authenticity. True mastery is transmutation, the art of converting emotion into energy aligned with purpose. The fire of anger becomes creative intensity. The vibration of fear becomes vigilance and preparation. The hunger of desire becomes discipline and drive. Nothing is wasted, everything is refined. But transmutation demands awareness. You cannot redirect what you refuse to notice. The undisciplined live unconscious lives, moved by moods they never name. They wake angry, act anxious, complain of misfortune, and call it personality. The disciplined wake aware. They sense emotion rising like weather and decide whether it serves the mission. They are pilots of their own storm. When wind changes, they adjust the sail, not the goal. Emotional mastery begins with separation. You must see that you are not your feelings. You are the one who experiences them. The observer is always greater than the observed. The instant you observe anger, anger is no longer master. It has become object. The same with fear, jealousy, or doubt. Observation dissolves identification. Identification sustains imprisonment. Each time you observe without judging, you reclaim authority. That is why silence and reflection are so powerful. They separate you from the noise long enough to remind you who commands whom. In the economy of greatness, self-command is currency. Every reaction you restrain becomes stored energy. Every emotion you redirect becomes fuel. The man who cannot hold emotion cannot hold power, for power accumulates only where control exists. Consider the dam that gathers a river. The water itself is wild, but structure makes it useful. Without the dam, there is flood. With the dam, there is electricity. So too with your mind. Contain the river of emotion within the structure of discipline, and it will light your world. The first test of mastery is insult. Insult is life's simplest measurement of control. The moment another person can disturb your peace, you have confessed weakness. The disciplined man is unoffendable not because he lacks pride, but because he recognizes truth. No insult can reach a mind governed by principle. He does not respond to noise. He observes it as weather and moves on. The weak fight to prove worth. The strong express it through composure. The second test is delay. Impatience is the emotion that exposes immaturity. Success belongs to those who can wait without wavering. The universe does not deny it, arranges. The undisciplined demand fruit before planting. The disciplined plant, water, and trust the process. Their calmness is not apathy. It is faith in law. Delay never breaks them. It builds them. For every moment of waiting is pressure added to the spring of power that will one day release in precision. The third test is temptation. Temptation is not always sin. Often, it is simply misdirected energy. It appears in comfort, distraction, indulgence, self-pity, all designed to pull you from purpose. The emotional man bargains with temptation. The disciplined man studies it. He asks, "What weakness does this reveal in me?" For temptation exposes where the mind still lacks command. Once understood, it loses its hold. Awareness is liberation. When you master these tests, insult, delay, temptation, you step into the law of calm dominance. Calm dominance is not silence born of fear. It is authority born of clarity. It is the ability to act from reason when the world acts from reaction. The calm mind does not shout. It directs. It does not chase. It attracts. It does not panic. It plans. Its stillness is not the absence of motion, but motion perfectly controlled. Calmness, then, is not weakness. It is the highest form of energy efficiency. Every emotional outburst drains the battery of focus. Every unnecessary word dissipates the voltage of purpose. The calm man stores energy. When he acts with totality. His movement is measured, his speech deliberate, his results explosive because they are concentrated. Others burn energy through reaction. He generates it through restraint. Faith, too, is a form of emotional mastery. Faith is emotional discipline in the unseen. It is the decision to trust law more than appearance. The world says, react to what you see. Faith says, act according to what you know. When your mind is trained to believe in cause before effect, you cease to fear outcome. You realize that what is planted in thought must appear in form, that results are delayed reflections, not denials. The calm man believes long enough to see the law fulfill itself. The emotional man interrupts the law through doubt. To toughen your mind, practice what I call emotional fasting. Each day, choose one emotion you will not feed. It may be irritation, fear, or the need for approval. Observe its hunger. Feel it rise, demanding attention, and deny it reaction. Watch as it weakens. You are starving a parasite that has eaten your peace for years. The more you refuse to feed emotion through reaction, the less power it possesses. Eventually, emotion becomes servant, again silent until summoned, potent when used, gone when finished. Detachment is not detachment from life. It is detachment from distortion. It allows you to love without dependence, to compete without comparison, to succeed without vanity, to lose without despair. Detachment transforms emotion into elegance. You are no longer consumed by the game. You play it with grace. You understand that nothing external can complete you because the source of strength resides within. At this level, discipline evolves into dignity. Dignity is emotional composure expressed through presence. It is the quiet certainty that needs no defense. When dignity enters a room, noise dissolves. The world responds instinctively to self-command because self-command is the rarest form of leadership. You cannot fake it. It emanates. Remember this eternal cause and effect. Emotion undirected equals chaos. Emotion directed equals creation. Mastery is not found in feeling less, but in guiding feeling with purpose. You cannot stop the tides, but you can build the harbor. Every day, choose to govern the inner sea. When waves rise, do not panic, adjust the sail. When storms come, do not curse, learn the rhythm. When calm returns, prepare for the next journey. And when at last you discover that no external force can disrupt your internal law, you will have achieved emotional invulnerability. The world will still challenge you, insult you, and test you, but it will no longer touch you. You will walk among storms as still water walks among stones, reflecting light without breaking shape. That is the unshakable calm of mastery, the peace that cannot be purchased, the power that cannot be imitated. Focus is not the narrowing of sight, it is the expansion of control. It is the deliberate act of choosing what matters and eliminating everything that does not. The world worships busyness, but busyness is movement without direction. The focused mind does not chase, it channels. It selects one cause, one purpose, and bends every thought, emotion, and habit toward that point. This concentration of power is what makes the mind a creative instrument instead of a reactive machine. For when the mind is scattered, it serves emotion. When the mind is concentrated, emotion serves it. Every man is given the same 24 hours, yet results differ infinitely because attention differs. Attention is the currency of creation. Whatever receives sustained attention grows, and whatever is neglected dies. The undisciplined spend attention as the ignorant spend money on impulse. The disciplined invest it with foresight. They know that the future is simply the compound interest of today's focus. You cannot achieve mastery while entertaining distraction. Distraction is the tax the undisciplined pay for their inability to say no. To toughen the mind, you must train focus as a soldier trains vigilance. Refuse to give attention to that which does not serve your purpose. Refuse to dignify negativity with reaction. Refuse to waste mental energy on opinions that do not pay dividends in progress. The mind, like a muscle, strengthens when you demand precision from it. When you direct it toward one thing until that thing bends to your will, you activate the law of concentration. And concentration, when married to faith, becomes genius. Understand this. Genius is not mystical. It is methodical intensity sustained over time. The mind that holds one idea with consistency eventually attracts the means to manifest it. It gathers insight, energy, and opportunity like iron filings drawn to a magnet. The average man scatters his magnetism across 1,000 desires and wonders why nothing comes. The master focuses it on one and the world rearranges. Nature herself respects direction. She despises diffusion. Every day you must renew your allegiance to focus. Declare, today my mind serves my vision, not my moods. Say it with conviction until it becomes law. When fatigue tempts you to drift, remember that drifting is the death of direction. When boredom whispers for novelty, remember that mastery grows in repetition. When fear tells you to pause, remember that hesitation is the camouflage of decay. The man who continues when emotion fades becomes unstoppable because he is moved by command, not condition. Focus without faith, however, collapses into tension. You cannot hold your mind steady through fear of failure. You must hold it steady through certainty of law. Faith is not superstition, it is emotional alignment with cause and effect. When you believe deeply that every disciplined thought produces a corresponding result, you cease to worry about when. You simply continue until. The universe obeys the consistent more than it rewards the clever. The patient man always outruns the talented because law serves endurance. In that endurance lies calmness, the great equalizer of power. The calm mind sees opportunity where the frantic mind sees threat. The calm voice commands where the loud voice pleads. The calm hand builds while the trembling hand breaks. Calmness is not something you practice when convenient. It must become your state under all conditions. You cultivate it by detaching from outcome and attaching to process. Outcome belongs to law, process belongs to you. When you do your work in full faith, you have already succeeded in principle, even before results appear in form. To build unbreakable focus, discipline your environment. The mind reflects the conditions it inhabits. Chaos outside multiplies chaos inside. Keep your surroundings clean, your routine ordered. your associations elevated. Avoid those who feed chaos with gossip, drama, or complaint. You cannot maintain mental precision among mental vagabonds. Association is silent autosuggestion. You will think like the people you spend time with. Choose thinkers, choose builders, choose those who speak in terms of cause and effect, not coincidence and emotion. Mental toughness also demands physical cooperation. The body is the servant of the mind. Its habits influence thought. Fatigue makes fools of philosophers. Feed your body as you feed your focus, with intention, moderation, and respect. Train it to obey command. A body that resists discipline teaches the mind to tolerate disorder. But a body under command amplifies every mental law. Energy stored in flesh becomes fuel for thought. You cannot command the world with a mind that collapses under its own weight. Strength is the signature of focus made flesh. Remember, the purpose of toughening the mind is not to escape life, but to elevate it. The undisciplined suffer both pain and confusion. The disciplined suffer only effort, but their effort becomes meaning. Pain without purpose is torment. Pain with purpose is transformation. The one who embraces purposeful struggle no longer calls it pain, he calls it practice. Every difficulty becomes a dumbbell for the will. Every setback becomes a lesson in leverage. The disciplined mind does not avoid adversity. It extracts advantage from it. When you are emotionally detached, mentally disciplined, and spiritually focused, you begin to experience what few ever do, authority over experience. You realize that events do not shape you, your interpretation does. You see that fear is not an obstacle but information, that anger is not an enemy but energy, that failure is not final but feedback. Life becomes a dialogue, not a battle. You cease to curse it and start to collaborate with it. And collaboration with law is the highest form of control. Let me tell you a secret. Balance is the language of mediocrity. Rhythm is the language of mastery. The disciplined man does not balance his passions, he orchestrates them. He moves through cycles of effort and rest with precision. He works with intensity, then withdraws into reflection. He burns, then cools. He gives, then regathers. Balance seeks comfort. Rhythm seeks creation. The master's life is not evenly spread, it is harmonically aligned. He gives himself fully to each moment, then releases it completely. That release is detachment in motion. In the end, to toughen your mind is to simplify your existence. Complexity is weakness, disguised as intelligence. The strong mind reduces everything to principle. What is essential? What is noise? What produces return? What drains it? The fewer your distractions, the greater your direction. The fewer your emotional attachments, the greater your freedom. The fewer your doubts, the greater your faith. Simplicity is the geometry of genius. It leaves nothing unused and nothing excessive. There will come a day when all your training will be tested. You will face failure, betrayal, uncertainty, isolation. These are not enemies. They are the final exams of mastery. When that day comes, remember that the world can wound only where you are unarmored. If your armor is made of focus, faith, and emotional control, you will not break, you will bend, adapt, and advance. The storm that shatters the untrained will sharpen you. The weight that crushes the fragile will forge you. For the mind that has been disciplined by law cannot be broken by circumstance. Power is never granted by the world, it is recognized by it. When you no longer beg life for fairness, life begins to obey you. When you no longer plead for ease, opportunity bows to your command. When you no longer need to be understood, influence follows in silence. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. The disciplined man aligns with cause so perfectly that effect becomes inevitable. That inevitability is what the undisciplined call luck. And so I leave you with this final command. Toughen your mind. Not to become cruel, but to become clear. Not to escape feeling, but to govern it. Not to resist the world, but to master your response to it. Every weakness you ignore today becomes the weapon that defeats you tomorrow. Every emotion you refuse to discipline becomes the leash that controls you. Every reaction you fail to master becomes the chain that holds you. Break those chains now through conscious effort, and the world will no longer break you. Because the world does not respect intention, it respects order. It does not yield to opinion, it yields to will. It does not follow emotion, it follows law. And the man who lives by the law of focus, the law of cause and effect, the law of emotional command becomes invincible. Toughen your mind until silence feels stronger than speech. Toughen it until stillness feels faster than reaction. Toughen it until every thought, emotion, and action serves one definite purpose. Then, when the storms come, you will not pray for calm seas. You will simply steer. And the world will not understand your peace. It will call you distant, emotionless, detached. Let it. For those words are spoken only by those still ruled by their own storms. You will know the truth that power is peace mastered, that peace is discipline perfected, and that the mind, once toughened by law, can never again be broken by life.